wanted to make a video talking about my Losi rock ray kit and all of the parts that I upgraded, the progress with it so far, what some of my thoughts are so far. At this time, I've upgraded just about everything that's available for this kit. Is it all necessary? Probably not, but it's done. So let's move on from that and talk about it a little bit. I upgraded the front bulkhead and rear third member. The parts that I upgraded are from SSD RC, and they are really stout. They were a great upgrade. All aluminum, not much flex in them whatsoever, and definitely an upgraded bearing set in those. I would recommend those for anybody with a rock ray kit. Speaking of bearings, another thing that I upgraded was the bearing set. I ordered a complete set from Eddy, and those bearings are so smooth. Anybody who hasn't messed around with some Eddy bearings yet, I definitely recommend them. They're just a great quality upgrade. Okay, some of the other parts. The servo mount. This is definitely an upgrade that I would recommend. This thing from the factory, this plastic one, has so much flex to it. It's unreal. Here's the steering set. Now, the steering set comes with 5 pieces. These pieces, I don't know if they're necessary, but you know, it's not the easiest to get to this set, and so it was the easiest to upgrade it now. Any of the guys that I looked at on the forums recommended these parts being metal just to take away some of the flex in your steering. If you have a high quality servo in this thing and you're looking for reaction time and strength and torque, then you really want to eliminate a lot of these plastic components that are going to allow for flex. So I went ahead and upgraded that now. And let's take a look inside of here, see if you guys can see it. So there's most of the steering linkages. Those metal parts just look great in there. They did eliminate some of the flex and movement. There's the servo mount. That thing is absolutely solid. The servo that's in here is from Reefs RC. This is a 444. They also have a couple of other options. I ordered their 555 initially. However, after doing a bit of research, I realized that the 555, while it has a lot of torque, is a little bit slower on the response time. It's still got a good response time, but I wanted a little bit faster for this car. So I put the 444 in it, and the 555 is going to go into my Wraith. That's going to be a great little upgrade. From the factory, this track rod mount comes in the Pro Kit already metal. So that's kind of a nice upgrade. The track rods are also metal. That's kind of a nice upgrade. The rear trailing arms, I went ahead and upgraded to metal. And I'll give you a shot of the orientation of those for anybody who's looking to upgrade them. Here's the factory plastic ones. There's no markings on these for left or right or up or down. So here's how they should be installed. I also changed the rear shock towers. The factory plastic ones just have a lot of flex to them. Are the upgrades necessary? I don't know, but I have them. They're done. They look great. So we're gonna just leave it at that. Here's the orientation for the parts, the way that they should be assembled. There's no instructions for these, so looking online, when you're assembling the kit, there's nothing that tells you how this fits. The way that I discovered how it fits is I had to assemble the stock ones and disassemble them and reassemble the upgrades in a similar orientation. The upgrades are just not quite the same as far as the shape and the way that they're built. My little faux fan mount here is not mounted in place. I wanted to leave this out so that I could get access to my receiver until I'm all done and this thing is built. Then I'll mount this into place. I went ahead and put my Mamba X switch in here. I just cut this out and then filed it. I'll throw a couple screws into here, but they're really not necessary. This thing is pretty well stuck in place. Put a Mamba X in it. This box, you can do a Google search online and you can find the software required to run this in a 3D printer. So the box that's in it mounts into the factory location for the one that would come with the rock ray that's ready to run. So that's kind of a nice little added feature. I went with a censored brushless Castle motor. This is the 1415 2400 kV. I don't know yet if this is going to be enough speed for what I'm wanting to run this rock ray. I may end up upgrading it. I don't know yet. I'm going to reserve judgment until after I run this thing a few times and get eyes on it to see how it performs. A few of the other upgrades that I did. This upper camber mount for the front. I don't know if it's necessary, but it looks good in metal. Same thing with the spindle set. They just look really good. The battery that I'm running in this, I went with the Venom 5000 mAh 50C. And this battery is a perfect fit. The kit will also come with this little piece. This will install in here down the middle, and it'll allow you to run a smaller 2S battery if you want, or just a smaller battery pack in general. So it'll take up that excess space. With that removed though, this is the full size of the battery compartment. So if you wanna look up that Venom battery pack, that will give you the dimensions that I have in here currently. And this absolutely fills it out front to back. Side to side, there's a very little bit of space. You could go slightly bigger, maybe 1/8 of an inch, maybe. Top to bottom, you might be able to fit a little bit more in there, probably about the same. But honestly, this battery pack is, fits in there pretty well. I guess you can put a little bit more in there top to bottom. I went ahead and ordered different roll cage for this thing. From the factory, the kit comes with the gray plastics, and they really do look good. I like the gray. I like that it's different from the ready to run. However, the paint job that I'm having done to this from RC Bombshells really isn't going to go with the gray. So I ordered all black, everything, and once it's assembled, I'll shoot another video so that you guys can see that and see why I chose to go with all black. Well, let's talk about this while it's in the screen. So, while I was going crazy ordering every upgrade available for this thing, I stumbled across a forum where a guy was asking if the front shock tower, if you can run the Baja Ray shock tower in this thing. A lot of the Baja Ray and Rock Ray parts are interchangeable. Not all of them. This is one of the ones that is not. And the way that I found out was by ordering it just to check it out and see, because I couldn't find a definitive answer. You can tell, obviously, looking at this thing, that it is not built like the original. But I thought, hey, why not try it? So it does not fit whatsoever. So any of you guys out there looking for a front shock tower for this thing, that's not it. Hopefully they come out with one for it. I will definitely throw that on my list of upgrades. Whether or not it's necessary, I don't know. But the guy on the forum that I was reading had already broken his twice. So I guess we'll be seeing when I launch this thing in the air how well it lands. I'm still going to be running the factory shocks. At some point I'd like to get an upgraded set of shocks from this thing. I've been eyeballing some of the Proline Racing ones, but that's on hold for now. I kind of maxed out everything that I want to do with this thing so far. Cost-wise, it added up really quick. So this was a great build, and I really enjoyed doing it. Anybody who's looking for a project, this thing, it's really great. The roll cage in the instructions, there really wasn't anything indicating for this rear how it's supposed to assemble. So for those of you guys doing the build kit, I'm just going to kind of settle on this so that you can see how it ends up being. What I ended up doing was kind of assembling it, putting it onto the car and seeing how everything lined up and going from there. These arms at the top, the angle should face out from top to bottom, and the thinner side is at the top, the bottom has the thicker side. That was something that I just didn't see in the instructions. Once this thing is assembled, the cage, I think, has like 14 or 16 screws mounting it and the interior. The interior will be in the cage before it mounts to the car. So once that's assembled to it, it's going to make it kind of difficult to access a lot of things. And then the body has another 12 screws mounting it to that. So for right now, I'm wanting to get the cage on, run it, see where my final thoughts are with the motor. If I'm pleased with this one, then I'll go ahead and just finish off my assembly of it and leave it how it is. If I'm not, then it'll still allow me some access to be able to get to things. Don't mind the wires. I'm still going to zip tie all of this in, clean it up really nice. This is my Castle Duo Pro, or Castle Quick Connect Duo, I guess. This is just going to allow me an external mounting point so that I don't have to worry about tearing everything down in order to get at my Mamba if I need to reprogram anything later. So just kind of a easy upgrade for now. Once the cage is on here, I'm just kind of sliding this into place. This is no way the way that it's supposed to be fit on here. You'll see that later. So the cage will mount to it first. Then your front shock tower will mount to it. The front shock tower is in place. Then you'll mount the shocks to it. As you can see, the shock tower kind of bows out through and around the frame. So that shock tower can't go on until after the cage is in place. Then the shocks will go on. Then the rear shocks. That's kind of one of the things I was talking about that really makes this hard to get into once you get it completely assembled. But it should make it a pretty solid rig. So if any of you guys have any questions, comments, advice, criticism, I'm sure there's plenty of that out there. Feel free to drop it in the comments. I will get back to whatever I can. And I'll list a link of all of my parts and upgrades as well.